In this video, I'm going to do the planning question of June 2022, variant 42. This is the B part of question number 2, and I'm reading the B part of the question number 2, which is basically your planning question. It says that a mixture of solids which contains barium sulfate and sodium chloride. Now, just after reading it, we know that the barium sulfate is basically your insoluble salt, whereas the sodium chloride is your soluble salt. So they have a mixture of an insoluble substance and another one is a insoluble one. So let's see what they want us, what planning they want us, how we have to proceed with the question. Now, the same statement they have given you, the barium sulfate is insoluble in water, whereas the sodium chloride is soluble in water. Now, they want us to describe how to separate the mixture, and in order to obtain the pure barium sulfate, the thing which need to be noted here, they want pure barium sulfate, and again the pure crystals of sodium chloride. So they again want the pure. So this is something which is very important. They just don't want to separate them, but they want the in the purest form. So let's proceed and let's do the planning. Okay, now when I'm doing the we have this is a question which is related to the experimental techniques, where through which we can separate insoluble and insoluble substances. Now, the method to separate the soluble from insoluble, what we will do is that we will be taking a mixture. We will be taking a mixture in a beaker, right? So we'll take a mixture of the substance, whatever the mixture we have in a beaker. Here we have a mixture, and this mixture contains your barium sulfate and it contains sodium chloride. The one is soluble, another one is insoluble. And then what are we going to do is we are going to add water to it. We'll add water to it. And after adding water, we are going to stir it properly, right? So we will add the water to the mixture. This is a mixture. This is a mixture. And to this mixture, we will be adding water to it, right? Now, after adding water, we will be stirring it properly. So after stirring it, what will happen? After stirring it, what will happen? The soluble NaCl will get dissolved. It will get dissolved in water, whereas the barium sulfate remains, it remains insoluble, right? So the two substances on the basis of the solubility, they separate out. One get dissolved to give the solution, whereas the another one, because it's insoluble, it remain insoluble, right? So the insoluble substance is going to settle down, whereas the sodium chloride will dissolve and will form the solution. Okay. Now, when the solution will be something like this, you will be having the solution of NaCl being formed. You will be having NaCl solution, and you will be having the insoluble barium sulfate left out at the base because it's insoluble. This is the step 1, and this is going to be step 2. After this, they are going to form the two distinct layers. The solution will separate out from the barium sulfate, which is basically solid. The step 3 is going to be you are going to separate them. You're going to separate this mixture by filtering it. Okay, you will filter it. You will pour the whole thing onto the filter paper, into the filter funnel, and you will be getting the residue as a residue, the insoluble salt. You will be getting the residue of barium sulfate left on the filter paper, whereas the solution of of the sodium chloride will be coming down, right? You will have the sodium chloride solution passing through the filter paper into another beaker, right? So this is the residue, and this is basically known as the filtrate. Now we have the one in the solid form and another one in the aqueous form. What we need to do is, what they want, the examiner want, he want the pure barium sulfate, in the solid form. This is in the solid form, but he wanted pure. And the sodium chloride you're getting in the aqueous sodium chloride form, in the solution form. So he want the pure and he want the crystals for it. So the step 3 will be that I will be, in order to get the barium sulfate in the pure form, what I'll do is I will only after the step 3, what I'll be doing in step 4, I will be washing the solid residue. Okay, I will be washing the solid residue with distilled water, right? With the distilled water, and I will be drying it within the folds of the filter paper. So this is, we have the filter paper, so the filter paper lining in inside the filter funnel. So we'll take out that filter paper, we'll spray the distilled water over the residue, which is basically my barium sulfate, in order to purify it. And then same filter paper, I'll dab and I'll squeeze extra water from it, and that is how I'll be obtaining my pure sample of, I'll be getting the pure sample of barium sulfate. So one task being achieved here. So I'll be washing the solid with the residue with the distilled water, and dry it between the folds of filter paper. Say, so this is done. Coming to this next part. The next part is basically your step 5. Now, what we will be doing with this particular part, we will be taking the aqueous sodium chloride solution, which we are getting as a filtrate. We will take it in the evaporating dish. This sodium chloride solution, will take it in the evaporating dish, and we will heat it. We will heat it till the time, till the time we will see the crystals being formed on the surface of the solution. As soon as we see the crystals being formed on the surface of the solution, we know that the solution has become saturated. Now, once the solution becomes saturated, what we'll do, we'll switch over, we'll switch off, we will switch off the burner, and we will let the solution, let the water evaporate at the room temperature. So basically what we will be doing in step 5, we can write down, we will make the we'll make the saturated solution of NaCl by crystallizing it, right, by the process of crystallization, right? Then after that, once the crystals are obtained, we are again going to spray, we will spray distilled water over the crystals, and again distilled water over the crystals, and we will dry between the folds of filter paper. Right? So this is how we will be obtaining the pure sample of barium sulfate, and we will be getting the pure crystals of sodium chloride. So this is how we will be including in our the method. These are the steps which will be including in the method. So either you draw or you make one diagram is better than 100 words. So you have a choice in the planning question whether you draw the diagram and make a fully labeled diagram with a few steps along with those diagrams, or you can write it down, the whole thing in words, step by step. So you can draw the drawing along with the labeling and mentioning the extra steps, extra precautions you're going to take, or you can simply write it down in words. That's all for this particular question.